This is a video that I made some time ago. You can see here's my YouTube page again. My YouTube page is a thing of beauty. This video was originally published about a month ago. And what I did was a comparison. It's a comparison between Barbie and the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey. And I did this because having seen 2001: A Space Odyssey, I understood what the producers of Barbie were doing here. This was a teaser trailer, right? And this was incredibly well done. I thought this as a marketing tool. As a marketing tool, this was just incredible. So I did this. I did this side-by-side comparison between the two. And let me just run this for another 10 seconds or here. Now, I did that as just a side-by-side comparison as a marketing tool, and what I didn't know at the time, and didn't think of, I admit it did not occur to me, that there would be an even larger comparison between the two, between Barbie and Oppenheimer. And this stuff is just amazing when you get into it, when you get into the Barbenheimer sort of comparisons that are being made, the connections that are being made. And it's based solely on the fact that both films are opening on the same day, right? Both films are opening on the same day, which is tonight at midnight. You know, I'm going to do my movie review right now, so if you don't want the Barbie movie spoiled, you know, I'm going to talk about what this movie actually is, because the Barbenheimer concept and what this movie actually is are two entirely different things. The Barbie movie is another bait and switch, in that it's real cute in the trailers. It's, you know, got this message that the Barbies live in this world that is all happy, and it's Barbie land. Okay, it's Barbie land, and they actually live as if the children who play with Barbies and Ken dolls, they live in the manner with which the dolls are played with, the realm of imagination. But what the movie actually is the story of a fall from grace. Now, this is the one scene where I'm going to talk about. This is what's-her-name from Saturday Night Live. And she was in Ghostbusters 2016, and she's known for sort of being in movies that kind of flop. But anyway, here in this context, she's playing the role of the serpent in the Garden of Eden. And most people, I assume, are familiar with the story of the serpent in the Garden of Eden and mankind's fall from grace. You don't have to have read the Bible to know that story. You could have read Paradise Lost. Milton's Paradise Lost talks about the same thing. Only Milton goes into far greater detail about what was going on at that particular moment than the Bible does. So she's playing the role of Satan, of the serpent in the Garden of Eden, and she's giving Barbie a choice. Wear the high heels and stay in Barbie land. Put on the Birkenstocks and go to the real world and see what it's all about. Okay, everybody knows that the real world is kind of a fracked up place. It's a really messed up place, and that's one of the reasons that Barbies even exist, that something like the whole Barbie doll franchise for girls and the Transformer G.I. Joe stuff for boys. That's why they exist. It gives children places to go. It gives their minds places to go that for a little while are free of all of that, all the all the trials and tribulations that face anyone trying to navigate the river of life. And when you navigate the river of life, if you're paying attention, one thing you learn rather quickly is a lot of people don't make it. You know, the story of people you knew in high school that never got out of high school, or the people you knew in high school that died before they got out of high school. Almost everyone has a story like that. You know, I look back on my high school years. There was a girl named Vicki Carol Sullivan, killed in a car crash at age 16. Vicki didn't make it. And she wasn't the only one. There were a bunch of kids I went into high school with as a freshman who never graduated. Life picked them away for different reasons. Life is hard. And in trying to successfully navigate the river of life, you have to overcome a lot of difficulties. You have to be able to know how to do that navigation, how to conduct yourself, how to weave in and out of some very arduous situations. And that's just part of being alive. Right? John Wick said it best. He who embraces death lives. He who embraces life dies. And all of that is sort of wrapped up in this very moment that you're seeing from the Barbie movie. Because Barbie lives in Barbie land. She lives in a place where she never gets old. She never gets sick. She never gets hurt. Nothing is ever going to come and hurt her. She's there in the realm of imagination, waiting for all the little girls to play within that realm. And then here comes this broad to say, all right, you want to see how things really are? Okay, put on these Birkenstocks and go out into the real world and try to navigate, baby, because it's rough out there. And so this is the Garden of Eden moment. This is the fall of mankind moment. And Barbie, of course, chooses the Birkenstock, and she chooses to leave the Garden of Eden. She chooses to leave Barbie Land and go out into the real world. What happens after that? Well, the other hidden message of the movie is that all the men in it, again, it's like Ghostbusters 2016. You know, all the men are idiots. All the men are weak. All the men are pliable. All the men are easily manipulated. Okay, they have no real identity of herself, and it's all of that is sort of hidden from the trailer, right? And it's the same sort of ideal that infested Indiana Jones in the Dial of Destiny, and that Phoebe Waller-Bridge was the big giant girl boss who was going to come in and take Indiana Jones' place because he was stupid and over the hill, and they needed a fresh young female face to take over. Okay, well that movie's losing. That movie's going to lose $100 million. Is Barbie? Probably not. Barbie is probably going to do very well. A lot of people are going to be able to go see this movie and not even notice the reference to the whole Garden of Eden and the fall of mankind moment, as detailed both in the book of Genesis and in Milton's Paradise Lost. A lot of people are going to go see this movie and not even know, not even see the reference that's made, the underlying story, and a lot of people aren't going to care. And as far as the message about Ken being the dopey little God, what's the word, I guess, dopey little femboy that he is, a lot of people aren't going to care about that either. On the other hand, Barbie is one of those movies that you can go and see it and just gloss over all that. It's a movie that has those messages built into it, right? It has those messages built into it. But it's also structured in such a way that if you want to just go and enjoy the movie, you can. Okay, you can. You can just sort of look over all the stuff that, all the politics, I should say, all the social justice crap that's sort of tied up in the movie. You can just sort of overlook all that and enjoy Barbie for just being A stupid movie. This was a good scene right here. Barbie introduces herself to a bunch of kids, and they're young teenage girls, right? And what are young teenage girls into right now, I guess, which is different from when I was that age. These kids have TikTok, and my God, TikTok, I swear. But talk about the death of Western civilization. But she introduces herself, and they just kind of blow her off, right? They just kind of blow her off, and they say, "We haven't played with Barbie since we were 5 years old," and that's part of the awakening process that she has to go through. So, to wrap this up on this movie, Barbie is a double-edged sword. Okay, Barbie is a double-edged sword. It does have this sort of social justice, progressive message in it that all men are weak, blah blah blah. Plus, it's a caricature of the fall from grace, again, as detailed in the Garden of Eden. But it's also a film you can just go watch if you want to. It's a film you can just go watch, and if you have kids that age and you want to go spend some time with them, there are certainly moments in it that are appropriate, right, for that age. That's my review of Barbie the film. Up next, Oppenheimer. Now, I haven't seen this one yet, but I read the book, okay? This is, of course, his tale of Robert J. Oppenheimer, known of course, as the producer of, or the original designer of the atomic bomb, the first two of which were used to end World War II, when they were dropped over Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And this is the story of the entire project, the Manhattan Project, which brought that about. Only this movie pays far more attention to Oppenheimer himself, tells more of his story through his eyes than the movies which came before this, because this is certainly not the first movie to deal with this subject. I'll get to another one. Here it is. All right, this is from Fat Man and Little Boy. Fat Man and Little Boy came out in 1998. This is Oppenheimer in that particular film, and he was played by the same actor who played Reginald Barclay in the Star Trek series. Dwight Schultz, there it is, okay. So this is Dwight Schultz, of course, and he was known more at the time for his appearances in Star Trek The Next Generation, and he would go on to be in Star Trek Voyager, but anyway, he played Oppenheimer here. This is the scene from this particular film when they set off the atomic bomb finally toward the end of the movie. And Fat Man and Little Boy got its name from the fact that the first two atomic bombs used, the one dropped on Hiroshima was called Fat Man, and the one that was dropped on Nagasaki was called Little Boy. And so this is a moment where they go off. Watch this. That's Oppenheimer, and he's going to light a cigarette just as the bomb goes off. Now talk about metaphor. This was incredibly well done, okay? This was incredibly well done. And then, of course, they track back over the sandbags, and they're all excited because they were successful. But then here he realizes, watch his face, and you can tell that he begins to realize just what it is he's done. And if you've read Oppenheimer's story, you know that he was troubled. After this, he was plagued for years about how his invention would eventually be used, in context of how it could be used, right? Okay, so this story isn't new. Of course, this story isn't new. And this particular movie, unlike the movie Fat Man and Little Boy, which starred Paul Newman, as I said, and was therefore featured more of Paul Newman's character than Oppenheimer himself, this one deals specifically with Oppenheimer. And the point I want to make here, even though I brought this up, even though in this particular case I haven't yet seen this movie, so I can't comment on if there's a hidden agenda here or if they really are just trying to tell this story once again. But one of the reasons I'm spending time on this is because when you compare, or when you look at the two films, right? You look at Barbie and Oppenheimer, you couldn't have two more diametrically different movies than Barbie and Oppenheimer. And yet, the geniuses out there on the internet, have meshed the two. Barbenheimer, Margot Robbie, this is great stuff. Okay, this is great stuff. Greta Gerwig and Christopher Nolan. Now, this is a movie, if they were to take this in its logical direction, this is a movie I would love to see. Barbenheimer, Barbie meets Robert Oppenheimer, and together they come up with the atomic bomb, and Barbie insists that when it blows up that all the smoke and everything be pink. That makes sense, doesn't it? So it's just a connection to the fact that the two films have come out on the same date. Now what I'm going to do, there's an actual trailer for the Barbenheimer movie, an actual trailer, and I want to play that, and I'm just gonna play it. Watch.
We're in a race against it.
Who?
Barbie! If this doll have a bomb, I know what it means. Fear it. Build a town, build it fast. Secret laboratory. Is anyone ever going to tell the truth
about the universe? What's going on?
I'm actually not sure. This is a matter of life and death. Our work here will ensure a peace mankind has never seen.
That's happening, isn't it?
If this got out, this would be catastrophic!
Are you saying there's a chance that when we push that button, we destroy
This doll
the world? Will remember this day.
This is the most important thing to ever happen in the history of the world.
I'm telling you, sports fans, I would pay good money. I would pay good money to see that movie, Barbenheimer. That is a tremendous blending. Barbie versus Oppenheimer, the real winner may be the box office, and that's sort of the buzz right now, is that both of these movies coming out on the same day, right? Being released on the same day. The only real winners, of course, are going to be the box office for both studios, and I have, and that's fine. Movies should make money. Movies that are well made, I should say, movies that are well made, that aren't pieces of crap, that aren't made with an agenda, should make money. And it wouldn't bother me a bit for both of these movies to be successful. I have a couple of issues with Barbie, again, because it promotes that sort of stereotypical view of men as inferior. There is some of that in the movie, enough to be very well noticeable and kind of. But okay, so that's my one drawback with the Barbie movie. But even so, it wouldn't bother me in the least for this thing to make money, and the same is true for Oppenheimer. If Oppenheimer sticks to the facts and doesn't try to retro. If the Oppenheimer movie is historical, stays to the historical facts, and doesn't try to retro Oppenheimer into some sort of reluctant social warrior, social justice warrior, then that'll be fine too. Because Oppenheimer was a scientist who was told what was expected of him and figured out a way to do it. And he didn't really consider the ramifications of it until after he had done it. It's like someone saying, to use science fiction as an analogy, it would be same to say that if you build a time, if you had it in your head, a way that you thought you could make the thing to work, and the government showed up and said, all right, you know, here's a couple $1 billion, man. Set up your office, build us a time machine. And so the draw is there. Okay, can I really do this? And so that's what you concentrate on. Can I really do this? Can I really build a time machine? And you do it. And you say, look, guys, I did it. Here's a time machine. Get in, and you can go back. And then after the government has taken over what you've built, which is exactly what happened to Oppenheimer, of course. He made his atomic bomb, and the U.S. government instantly took possession and used it to end World War II. The same thing would be true. The government would take over your time machine, and God knows what they would do with it. Okay, and so then you're sitting there thinking, well, why did I do? That's what happened to Oppenheimer. He said, you know, why did I really do this? That was the story of his later life. And so Fat Man and Little Boy, the Fat Man and Little Boy movie that I talked about here, showed that story, displayed that story. I'm not sure if this one will. All right. Barbenheimer Barbie tracking for $70 million, $80 million opening, and Oppenheimer targets 40. Both of them had, of course, different budgets. Barbie had a larger budget than Oppenheimer did. And so, both of these, that's money-making territory. Okay, here's something. Burger King Brazil has actually launched a Barbie-themed pink burger. And there it is. Would you eat one of those? It's supposed to be like, this image is the barbecue version.
We imagine a future, and our imaginings look fabulous.
Barbie, together we're gonna beat those Nazis.